But now we're going to go ahead and turn it over to Congressman Kilili. He just arrived home, so we're really grateful that he was able to join us here on this Zoom call today. Thank you so much, Congressman.
Yeah, thank you very much. And good morning, Governor. Good morning, President Palacios, and to all of you, members of the Saipan Chamber of Commerce. Good morning, and thank you for inviting me for this opportunity. If I move this camera a little bit more, it's going to fall off. But before everything else, I want to say how remarkably our community has responded to back-to-back typhoons and now to the coronavirus. The resilience people have shown under the most difficult circumstances is frankly astounding. The sense of responsibility people have shown, understanding what each of us does as an individual make a difference to the health of those around us is astounding as well. The Marianas community deserves to feel a deep, deep pride in who we are and how we respond when life is hard. If there were any doubt about our strength and resolve, just look around. Yes, we had 2 deaths from coronavirus, but federal agencies predicted we could have thousands by June, and thousands of infections at least by June. And that prediction has proven false because we did what we needed to do, even though it was hard to wash and socially distance and avoid the kind of gatherings that are central to our culture. In addition to that, the directives issued by the governor's office and the cooperation of all establishments and all public agencies and individual families in the Marianas help to this exceptional accomplishment. So we have also avoided so far the civil unrest that we see in the rest of the country. And not because we're unfamiliar with racial prejudice. We know what it means to be political second-class citizens. We know our living standards are below the rest of the country. We know race is at the root, but we're willing to work for change through peaceful means. And we will persist, 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 just like our fellow Americans living in underserved and under-respected communities. Um, by my count, the Marianas received 180 million to help the damage from U2 and Mangkut, and there are EDA grant applications in the pipeline to rebuild schools and other infrastructures destroyed by the typhoons. There is $244 million in community development block grant funds for disaster recovery set aside for the Marianas as soon as our spending plan is complete. And I'm working in Congress to leverage another $90 million from FEMA at the governor's request. This is a community disaster loan that can be converted to an outright grant if the Commonwealth meets certain conditions. America has been there to help us when we needed it the most. Now, just as we face back-to-back typhoons, we face the back-to-back health and economic crisis caused by COVID-19. And in Congress, we're doing everything we can to help. By my count, the Marianas has already received $125 million in emergency aid for the Commonwealth government, the public school system, and the Northern Marianas College for our ChST and everyone working in healthcare with food aid for children and families as well. Add the 1,200 emergency impact payments that are finally being paid out, that's another $45 million. Add the payroll protection program to help businesses pay workers and cover fixed costs. As a matter of fact, just last week, the House passed a bill to provide some flexibility, greater flexibility to the PPP program. And the good news is that the Senate has said that they will bring the bill to the floor for a vote as soon as possible. That maybe as early as this week. As of May 30, 362 Marianas businesses have loans for 35.6 million that should convert to grants if terms are met. Add unemployment assistance, which I know that the Secretary Benavente's office, their staff are getting training as we speak. and they're trying to put up install the web portal that would allow people to sign on and register online. And but and that is another $70 million at first, and could easily double or triple over the course of the year. Yes, Congress has provided what was needed to blunt the health threat and prop up businesses and households financially, but more is needed. The vice president of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce said publicly said this day or yesterday that the CARES Act was a measure to respond to the emergency, and but a step two is necessary, alluding to the HEROES Act. A step two is necessary to respond to economic recovery, and I agree with the vice chairman of the U.S. Uh, Chamber of Commerce. Because no one here thinks the crisis is over. We ask, how do we start a mass tourism economy and keep our community healthy? What economic alternatives do we have to develop? And how do we make ends meet in the meantime? We will be struggling to answer these questions for the months and years to come. In Congress, the House of Representatives has already passed more relief to help our communities and communities nationwide facing the same problem. The HEROES Act, as it is called, with about 3 billion for the Marianas. Yeah, you heard me right. 3 billion just for the Marianas. That should keep government services running, our schools and hospitals and ports. Esther could probably build the laboratory that she really wants to build. The HEROES Act will put more people in people's more money in people's pocket. So until businesses reopen and they can go back to work, they can buy what they need for themselves and their families. And the payroll protection program and other innovations will continue a lifeline to businesses to get through the crisis. As I said, the House has acted, and in the Senate, Republicans are cool to the idea of providing more relief, and the president has issued a veto threat. I do not mean to politicize the issue. Those are just the facts. But I do expect that Republicans will come to their senses and more relief will be provided. And I promise to continue working to make sure the Marianas get every ounce of assistance we need to continue the recovery from U2 and Mangrove and get us through the crisis, coronavirus crisis. And I will now take questions. Don't make them too difficult, okay?
No, no worries, Congressman. Thank you again so much for taking the time to speak with us today. The first question is there an update on the second round of the Paycheck Protection Program for Marianas businesses?
Um, a second round of PPP. I think the money has not been depleted. The pool of money that's available has not been depleted, and I think banker lenders here would continue to draw the money as they see applications come in, and for that they are responsible for. But let me ask: is Adam on the call?
All right, great. The
Yeah,
next,
yeah. Hold on, Maxine. Adam, did I get that right?
let me make Adam a co-host.
Hello, can you
Okay.
hear me?
Huh?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, yes, boss. So last update from the SBA said there was 135 billion in PPP funds.
Remaining.
But given how Congress has acted to replenish funds, we expect that if there were any need to do that, that Congress would act.
Okay. Thank you, Adam.
Yeah.
Maxine.
The next,
I hope I answered that question.
yeah, thank you so much, Congressman. The next question is, could you elaborate a little bit more on the bill that passed Congress last week and the different components that it has related to businesses and the PPP? I know you talked about the expansion of like 8 weeks to more.
Right. So the bill that was passed that passed the House last week and Senator McConnell has said he will bring the bill to the Senate floor for vote. It does several things. Among others, it extended the term of the loan. So rather than paying in 2 years, it makes it much longer. I think it may be extended up to 5 years. One of the also great provision there is the adjustment where at the present time you have to spend 75% of the loan on employees. There are businesses that don't necessarily um, that have greater cost on fixed costs such as rentals, equipment and those kind of things. So it reduces the 75% to 60%. And then again, I'm correct that it extends from 2 years to 5 years the terms of the loan and there are other conditions in there that actually provides flexibility and for existing and those loans that could be processed in the coming weeks. I think there's another 125 or 175 billion dollars that's available.
Thank you so much, Congressman. And the last question that we have, is there any other pieces of legislation that you're currently working on or that you're excited about that you would like to share with the membership?
And well, excited, yeah, there's quite a few. But right now, the governor has asked us to um, get authorization for a community disaster loan. Appropriators are now busy at work. Subcommittee chairman of appropriations committee called the Cardinals, for example, they're the ones who actually write the 12 separate legislation that becomes part of the legislative bill, appropriation bill, the omnibus. And so we're working with the chairwoman of the Department of Homeland Security, trying to working with her to get this authorization for the Commonwealth to obtain a community disaster loan. The governor told us the 90 million, $93 million, but what we do is we language this in a way because we're not allowed to do earmarks. So we language it in a way that is available to FEMA. There's no need for appropriating additional money. FEMA gets this pot of money every year. And so we language it so that territories could apply because I'm treating the Commonwealth as a local government because local governments tend to mean municipalities. But we language it where the Commonwealth is considered a local government and also consistent with language that the Commonwealth government has as determined is necessary to lawfully muster, constitutional muster, to pass constitutional muster, and um, and and get the money, the $90 million, and use it for the lapse revenue that we were not able to receive or generate because of typhoons Mangkut and Yutu. It's a little tricky because our constitution does not allow to borrow money for operations, but we had to language it in a way that would pass constitutional muster, and we think we got that working with our CRS and legislative councils, and now we're working with the subcommittee and reaching out to Department of Homeland Security, to FEMA directly, asking them to look at the bill and give us technical assistance, comment if there's any comment they'd like to submit, and or more so provide support for the language so that it becomes a part of the appropriations bill. It does help when the departments or agencies lend support for legislative language. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Congressman. That is all for our question segment. Is there anything else
All
that
right.
you would like to share?
No, just thank you for this forum. Thank you for inviting me and my staff. And you know, we we continue to work. We continue to work hard. And look, it's just it's really I come home almost every month when it was normal, but now coming home really a sense of just I am just happy to be home. Really, So thank you, everyone.
Well, we're really grateful that you are home and especially grateful for all the time that you spend on the Hill advocating for our behalf. We have many businesses and individuals alike who are benefiting from many of the resources that you're currently advocating for on the Hill. So again, thank you so much for the time that you're spending there. And I hope that you get a little time to relax while you're home.
Yeah, I just hope that everyone who got that EIP money and everyone who's going to get PUA money, that they spend that money. See, that's supposed to be spent and goes out to the community and it generates more revenue and all of those things. So someone told me that they saved the money. I said, no, you're not allowed to save that money. I'm just making it up, but I was jokingly telling that person, you're not allowed to save that money. You must spend that money so it gets moving into getting circulates into the community. But with more businesses opening up, I'm sure people will start, going back to the businesses and spend a little bit of money. Once we have a little certainty, once Secretary Benavente gets that PLA thing program up and running, if in the HEROES Act, it extends the PUA for I think another year and a half. If I'm not mistaken, it extends the 600 up to December of this year or even longer than that. And that means, my goodness, I think maybe Secretary Benavente at one time, and we agreed with her, um, projected that it's possibly we can get $250 million into Mariana's economy through this PUA program. And we thank her for working hard on this. It's taking some time. I wish it was already happening, but there are things yeah.
Well, thank you, Congressman. You actually just did a great segue for me. We don't even need a host. But again, thank you so much for your time, Congressman, and for the rest of your staff for joining us today.
Thank you.